Now I have 5 opponents instead of 1. So not only do I actually have to deal with one guy, I have to deal with my idiot teammate showing late or just misplaying, and then I lose the match even if the whole match goes like well for me. How is this fair? How is this fair? Why should I rely on other people? 3 versus 3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Who would have thought that we would ever have a serious actual YCS dedicated to Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a team game, which is what we're going to be discussing today. Is Yu-Gi-Oh! A team game? We're going to be looking at all kinds of aspects. For example, the actual 3v3 announcement, what it is that is going to be going down, how it's laid out, the structure. We'll be talking about some of the finer talking points, talking about how practical this is, the failure, I guess, of tag as a whole, and how that kind of maybe has sparked a kind of team interest for Konami. And finally, we'll be looking at sort of the esports aspect behind this as well. So, 3 versus 3. I'm so jealous of anyone who gets to go here. It sounds generally so hyped. You know, as a famous YouTuber, I have so many contacts that are willing to just carry me through to a YCS win, and I can get my top without actually doing anything myself. I love this. This is great. It's a win-win for everyone. So overall, I just want to give a small introduction, I suppose, and talking about this is, I think, in my opinion, probably the best possible step forward that Konami could take with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's been like super stagnant for the last, I don't know how many years, where basically you win a YCS and that's it. Like there's nothing really past that, you know, other than worlds and stuff. But even then, it's like realistically, it's just like you just get better prizes, but not even better prizes in terms of monetary value, and just in terms of what you can sell. You know, you do hard labor for your price, but that's a different topic. But the point is I think that a team-based sort of oriented concept and structure for Konami was the best thing that they could do going forward, because rather than promoting individual players, they can now promote teams and groups of people. Maybe that works out cheaper for them or something, I don't know. But having some kind of like event like this just means that the team concept of Yu-Gi-Oh! As which I believe is like, you know, from the anime and the heart and soul of like the card game, you know, friendship and teammates and stuff. Maybe that's really like what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about. And I think this is, you know, for the competitive standpoint, I think it's even better to push forward, because not only, you know, do you kind of mitigate some of the variance involved with just a personal best of 3 match, you now have 2 other teammates involved. So it's, you know, kind of like a potential of up to 9 duels. And I think that's a lot less variance. And I think that overall, like, you will see like teams who are good consistently do well, better than just if they were playing by themselves. So that's a great thing in my opinion. I would love to see rosters promoted. I would love to see like the stables and stuff promoted by Konami and like have them on the website, like things like that would be amazing, right? You know, I'm not exactly asking for Overwatch League style of, you know, competitive stuff. Like, I don't think, you know, E-Man Games should be flown out to Las Vegas to live in a gamer house where they could duel 16 hours a day. Although, to be fair, you know, Konami, why not? Like, what, are you short of money or something? Konami need more money. I heard the pachinko machines were doing pretty well. Now, I don't think we're going to be seeing something like that, but that would be pretty cool, right? You know, what if that, like, is the next step that they're taking forward? And this is the second section of my video, talking about the esports aspect. And if they're trying to promote themselves as an esports, which they have branded themselves at, if any of you watch the World's Championship stream and stuff, you would have seen it very clearly, Konami Esports. So if they have any idea of how esports works and what esports is, then there better be some big things planned for the future. I really think that there's a huge potential here, enormous potential here, to really take the game one step forward in that esports direction. And I'm just excited to see what they have planned in the future. I know that this is a testing ground or whatever, but, you know, we'll see how it goes from there. I just want to say, though, if Konami's concept of esports is Goki mirror matches like we saw at Worlds, I'm out. I'm gone. Like, you can do your thing. Like, I'm not interested. Not interested. Entering the third part of this video, let's talk about what exactly this means practically. How do you have a 3 versus 3 tournament? Pretty much it's just the exact same as a 1 versus 1 that you have normally at your events and regionals, YCSs and stuff. You play against your opponent, you win, you lose, blah blah blah, bibbidi bop, bib bang bang boom. There you go. Nice game. Got sacked by Imperial Order. Very nice. Awesome. So now you're waiting on your 2 other teammates to finish their match. If another teammate of yours loses, then you're out because you lost your match and your teammate loses. So overall, in the match of the 3v3, you've only won 1 match, but 2 of your teammates have lost 2. So yeah, you lose. So basically you just need to, your team needs to win 2 matches and you can go from there. 3 versus 3 teams. There's only one Firewall Dragon is at 1 copy. Therefore, only one person in your team is allowed to use Firewall Dragon. I thought that would be a really amazing thing, but it seems like that's not what they're going with. You're literally just, you can use your own deck. You can have 3 firewalls across your team. That's fine. I believe in Magic the Gathering, when they use their 3v3 tournaments, it's a shared ban list across the whole team. I personally think this would be so much better. I would really, really think this would be so much better. It removes the concept of a best deck. It removes the sort of just, you know, this idea of just playing like like, what if there's a tier 0 deck for this event, right? Everyone just plays this mirror matches for like 9 duels, like over the course of like 10 rounds. That's absolutely insane, right? It would be terrible for a viewer perspective if they try to stream it. It'd be terrible from from viewership, and I think it would add a whole other dimension of creative, skillful deck building to be able to recognize, you know, there's only one Firewall Dragon in our team. Who's going to use it? Who gets to play that deck? Who gets to play, you know, the stun deck? Who gets to play the Raigeki? Who gets to, etc., right? So overall, across the whole team, you could only have one Raigeki, for example. That would have been way cooler, in my opinion, rather than the way they're doing it now, which is pretty much just, yeah, just a regular thing. It would have added a whole other layer of deck building and skill rather than just having it be a simple sort of duel, because realistically, I think the way this kind of feels now when I'm looking at it, it's like it's just a normal duel, but its results are based off of the results of 3 duels. Other than communicating with your opponent, with your teammate occasionally, I don't see what's so team based about it, because, you know, like realistically, you can't communicate with your teammates that much because they're going to be focusing on their own game. You're going to be focusing on your game. You know, what the guy who's one team like down is going to be like communicating with his opponent, dueling and stuff. Like, so you're not actually going to have that many opportunities to talk to your teammates. So there's not that much team based to it, I think. And I think I would have liked to have seen that at the deck building stage, which would be to have a shared ban list pool. But that's just my opinion. That's what I think. The time limit has been increased by 5 minutes, which I find very interesting. I don't know if this is maybe a mistake or if it's something very intentional, but normally the time limit for a duel is 40 minutes. Now it's 45 for the 3 versus. I don't know if they're going to make this overall going forward or something, but let's just assume this is the case for 45 minutes. And I think they're giving extra time here purely for extra communication, which I think is very important. As we see in the FAQ, something really interesting, you are allowed to communicate with your teammates. So I could literally just like get, like, where's some cards here? There's some pack of sleep. What's the best play? Do I summon tour guide or do I summon tour guide? Why do I have tour guide in my hand? Hey, Ryan, can you tell me what's the best play here? This, I should summon tour guide. Okay, summon tour guide, set 4 back row. I don't know, right? Something like that, right? You're allowed to do that in a 3 versus 3 tournament. You can ask your opponent, teammate rather, for advice. You know, what do I side out? What do I side in? Take a look at my board. What's the best play? That's all allowed, which I think is very interesting because I think it's a positive thing overall. Like, I can't deny that that's not bad or anything. I think that's really great. That's the whole point of a team thing, right? I mean, you want to have, like, you know, collusion and stuff with your teammates. But the issue here I have is, well, I think that at least in tag duels, the way it used to be, or at least some of the rules in tag duels, which I'll talk about tag in a second, the rules there are basically like you can communicate so long as it's audible to both teams. Now, the issue here is in Europe, well, we have like 10 languages or something, right? There's so many people from all over Europe, different cultures, different backgrounds, all coming, you know? So like if I'm like in a British team and all only speak is English, our teammates can have a significant advantage if they're speaking, you know, Italian or French or German only, and we don't know what they're saying, but they know what we're saying. Obviously, that's an advantage. You know, where's like the draw there? Do they force everyone to speak English? Clearly, that's not practical. I mean, you can't just force people who aren't native speakers to speak a language they aren't comfortable in to do their best at. You know, I don't see how that's practical. So I think basically, you know, they would probably just have to just let people talk. Can you use code and like, you know, signs and stuff like that? I don't think so. Well, at least in tag you're not allowed to do that, but will they allow this for this? I didn't see anything specific prohibiting it in the FAQ. Maybe we'll get more clarification as time goes on, but the communication aspect is really, really interesting. Now this brings me back to the time point, and it's well, what do you do with regards to time? Because, you know, if I take like a minute to just ask my teammate, you know, what's the best play in this situation, and then they look at the game state, they check my hand, they check the graveyard, and then they look at the board and stuff, and then they tell me the best play. You know, maybe that takes like 20-30 seconds or something, right? That's 20-30 extra seconds from outside of the current duel between me and my opponent. Like, where's this, like, where do you draw the line with slow play? Can my opponent call a judge and say like they're taking too long? Is that a thing? Because, you know, like, I can see this being very abusable, very, very abusable, you know, where you have to, like, you know, maybe there's all three of them, like two of them are finished their match, they're standing behind the one guy, they're all deciding on the best play for that particular moment. You know, it's going to take time, which I think is why they added an extra 5 minutes. Personally, I think the team game should be like 50, 55, maybe even an hour. But that's just my opinion anyway, because, you know, end phase, the time on the rounds. Okay, never mind, let's not get into that. So that's going to take longer. You know, where do you punish people for that, etc., etc. Yeah. So talking a little bit about tag, I don't want to spend too long on this, but you guys all know Yu-Gi-Oh has had a team aspect to it and stuff like that in the past, and there have been tag tournaments, at least at the local level. Definitely nothing sort of, you know, premier or anything to that level as far as I'm aware. And you know, tag is just a mess. How does it work? I mean, like, you know, you have to fight through 10 back row. The ancient leaf is busted because you start with 16,000 life points. So tag overall, yeah, it was just a mess. And I think 100% it's easy to say that 3v3 is the better option to do for these kind of style of events. So that's been my video for today. Tag, duels, and the future of competitive 3v3 Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm really excited for this. I hope this does well, and I really hope we get big things out of this in the grand picture. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Until next time, master peace.